Not all operators are perfect. Sometimes Hypergriff releases operators that kinda disappoint you. These operators have either bad synergy or have little to no use, but I can still tolerate that. Somehow, we have operators that self-sabotage your team. Why, Hypergriff? This feels worse than having no sun for a week. Yes, I am talking about Spuria, truly one of the Sankta of all time. Her kit feels like there's a civil war happening, and it's so bad that even Game Press straight up reject her. This video is releasing way later than I wanted to be, and for the past week or so I've been putting together my thoughts about Spuria and trying to understand what makes her disliked by some Dokutahs and also enjoyed by a different group of Dokutahs. So if you happen to get Spuria from Executor Alter's banner, should you build her? Well, this video will take a closer look at her talents and skills, and let me share with you my thoughts. Spuria is a 5-star geek specialist, and she's only the second operator in this archetype after 4 years since Ark has been released. Holy shit, that felt like forever ago! Her trait is that she continuously loses HP, and so she requires constant healing, which would require careful planning in terms of medic placement. Unless you're using her as a heli drop, then you don't need to worry about that. To be honest, I have no idea what Hypergriff is doing with this archetype, and since Ark has been the sole operator of this archetype for the first 3 years of this game, this archetype is kind of a mystery to me and also has some of the wackiest kits I've ever seen, and always involves a self-sabotaging mechanic in one way or another. When comparing Spuria to Ark, she is inferior in almost every aspect except DP costs and not killing your own operators. The closest archetype I can compare Spuria to is the anti-air sniper. Her attack is noticeably higher than all AA snipers, but her attack interval is 0.3 seconds slower. If Spuria needed to fill in as an anti-air, she can, and it won't make that much of a difference. Spuria's talent, Experimentation on Ammo Reloading, what the fuck is this name? Allows her to trigger one of the following effects while attacking. Attacks deal 2 hits, a short stun, or ignores defense. The perks are decent, however, it's all randomized. At most, you have 70% chance to proc one of the above mentioned effects, and I'm not a big fan of RNG operators. But there is a silver lining. In my tests, when you run the auto-deploy, the talent stays consistent all throughout the run, and seemingly the RNG mechanic has disappeared as long as you don't take over the auto-deploy. Now this has to do with the game mechanic rather than the operator mechanic. It's too long to explain in this video, but there is a video by Kokikaze where he explains how this mechanic works. And if you have the time, go check it out. Unlike Ark, Spuria is missing the ability to self-heal, reducing her independence in the battlefield. That said, if you use her in integrated strategies, you better pray to RNG gods that you have a medic ASAP. Moving on to the skills, and before we do that, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video so far. The first skill is a passive skill that increases Spuria's attack speed. This is a weird skill implementation because usually passive skills are used by fast redeploy operators. Since Spuria has a 70-second redeployment time and this skill only lasts about 24 seconds, your uptime is very small. This also applies to Neural Alter, but Neural's true damage is an asset that can change the tide of battle. Meanwhile for Spuria, her skill 1 damage is only effective against weak mobs. Needless to say, her heli drop capabilities are lacking in comparison to existing operators who are miles better at filling this role. Unless you enjoy playing niche knights, which in that case, don't let me stop you. Skill 2, On-the-Spot Modification grants Spuria and a sniper operator an attack buff and attack speed buff. But this skill has a chance to stun Spuria herself and the sniper she buffs. Why? What is the point of stunning your teammates? What is the point of giving your teammate attack speed buff if they can't even maximize it? I don't need sleep, I need answers! Anyway, the stun does not work well with snipers that have a fast attack interval, such as anti-air snipers, because it compromises their attack cycle. But her skill 2 surprisingly synergizes well with slower attack snipers, such as artillerymen and AoE snipers, because the stun effect has very little consequences. You can mitigate the stun problem with Lumen, but considering how short the stun is, It might not be worth it unless you are in a really desperate situation where precision is key. Putting aside the stun mechanic, the attack speed and attack buff are pretty good. In fact, Spuria's buff results in the targeted sniper with a higher DPS than Warfarin's skill 2 thanks to the increased attack speed. In this clip, you can see the damage comparison on Rosa without buffs and with Spuria and Warfarin's skill 2 respectively. My operators are not at max level, but you can see just how close the differences are. In fact, Spuria's buff does a slight more damage than Warfarin at level 7. This skill might seem awful at first glance, but the massive attack buff that she offers cannot be overlooked. It does seem like skill 2 has the best mastery gains. At M3, the chance of getting stunned and its duration reduced significantly, making it less troublesome for your snipers. Spuria's module increases her SP regen rate if her HP is above 80%. By having a medic always keeping her HP top and thanks to the relatively cheap SP cost of skill 2, Spuria can spam skill 2 very easily and always be ready whenever you need it. At level 3, Spuria's talent gains an extra perk where she deals 115% damage, which could greatly boost her DPS. Unfortunately, I don't have her module, so I can't really give you a detailed analysis on this because trust farming is a long and painful process. One of the curses of being an Arknights player. So, should you build Spuria? Yes. As long as you can get past her weird kit, I believe that Spuria is a great operator and game press is just being too harsh. Although she's not for everyone, I do think that some niche knight players out there might find some use out of her. Spuria might fail her first impression, but her buff makes up for it unlike a certain operator, cough cough Tsukinogi. With that being said, do not give her your gun for repair if you don't want this happen to you.